Hey there, Hope Chapel. My name is Jonathan Poitevint, and if you haven't met me yet, I'm the son of Martha Poitevint, and I'm the brother of Rachel Burrow. And this is my testimony. Obviously, growing up with, as you guys know, Martha, I was raised in a Christian home. Both of my parents were Christian school teachers, and I made two professions of faith during that time. One when I was young, and then one older when I went to the wilds. And I walked away from that, and I really did try to live the Christian life at that point for a while. And by trying, I think it would be best be said I was trying to do all the things that made me look like a Christian, because I don't think I ever memorized scripture on my own, or had devotions on my own, or anything like that. And I don't think it was at any time a part of what I would consider a real relationship. I didn't consider it that way. I thought it almost a code of conduct, and something that I became a part of. So I went through college. I went to Bob Jones University, and I went there, and I kept trying to do the same thing. Met a beautiful woman, Whitney. We got married under the idea that I was a Christian, and went and joined the Navy. During that time, went to church up in Virginia Beach at a church named Avalon Hills Bible Church. Great church. Whitney loved it because she was there way more than I was, as I was always traveling with the Navy. During that time, I started to realize that I was trying to live this faith, and that it wasn't, I don't know, I just started having lots of doubts during that time. And I'd bring them to Whitney, and it wouldn't really go very well. And over time, I started to become very passively just kind of walking away from the faith. And then during that time, I ended up dragging my family through a whole lot of mess from some of my actions during that time. And then Whitney and I decided to walk away from the faith completely at that point. And we would have considered ourselves agnostic for the past 5-6 years. And so 5-6 years go by, we're living that way, with godless, if you will, thinking that we've got it all together. And then COVID comes around in 2020. We're in downtown Greenville. I've opened a business. I've done all these things. And we want to get out of Greenville, so we move out to a farm. But to do that, we end up uprooting ourselves from a lot of the friends that we made down there, and we didn't know anyone. So, and the people that would agree with us the most at this point, we were looking around, we're like, I guess we'll go to church. Free childcare, be great. We'll maybe get to know some people, and we were going to try to do the culturally Christian thing, except it really didn't work out that way. I went there, and the first service, so for context, I've cried 5 times in my life prior to this. One was my wedding. But I tears just coming down, and uncontrollable emotion while I was there. And so I thought that was odd. And so I started considering it, and we keep going to church. And then eventually I pray to God, Lord, because it kept happening. It just kept happening. And I just kept feeling drawn to really get involved in this. And so I was like, okay, Lord, I don't think the Bible's inspired. I don't think a lot of things, but I'm going to read it. And I know that you say that if we seek, that we'll find. And so I'm going to read the Bible, and please show me yourself. Show me what's true. Show me what is and isn't true. If there isn't anything, there's things that are not true there. And so I started doing that night after night. I was reading my Bible every day. Started in Matthew, started reading through the New Testament, and just couldn't get away from it. And so very early on, I wanted to make a commitment, but because we had moved out here, and it was a very stressful time, because I had opened a business, I had several properties, and we had bought this farm, and I was in risk of losing a lot of things at the time, because there were circumstances swirling around that basically the very thing I just purchased a few months ago, I could not keep because I overextended myself. And so I would sit out here thinking about the fact, have I been drawn to Christ purely because things are hard right now? Or am I looking for him to fix them for me? God controls everything and make these properties close. Or am I going to follow Christ no matter what? If everything goes as bad as it went for Job, would I still be happy that I made this decision? And would I still be willing to commit to living that life that I know is required of a Christian? I sat out here for weeks just wrestling with that. And finally one night I just knew. And I was like, well, if I lose it all, it's better to lose it and have God than to lose it, and have nothing. So yeah, I'd rather have God. And so at that moment, I bowed my head. I accepted Christ. I prayed, Lord, I know all the things, but this time I want a relationship with you. I have felt the Spirit, and I want that all the time. And I believe you died for me. I believe you rose again, and I believe that you're going to take me to heaven and that you're forgiving my sins. I believe it all. And from then on, I've just continued that way. I was like, well, there's a lot of Christians who believe the Bible's inspired. I'll start there, and then I'll work from there. And if something goes a different direction, I'll decide it. So that's my testimony. We were away from God. We were put in a really tough circumstance. And then if God would have taken it all away, and God can still take it all away, I'd still be happy to be following him.